Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and today we are starting a new little mini series for you on my little project here where I'm going to be painting my new Bell RS7. So first of all, welcome back to all my subscribers, and I hope that you enjoy this little series whether or not you are into real life racing or not. I think that this is going to be fun to watch, this little journey and how I'm going to end up doing this. But again, I just want to show you guys, this is my old helmet, and I painted this one. I got it maybe almost 10 years ago, and I did the job, and didn't really do too good of a job of recording that. Took only a few photos, and they're definitely lost now. So it'll be cool to actually, show the entire process and how I go about it. Now, the first thing that I want to get through is definitely a disclaimer about how bad of an idea it is to paint your own helmet. Don't take this as a tutorial. That is definitely not a tutorial or a how-to on how to paint your own helmet, because trust me, you will screw it up. This is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and that's why you have to go to a professional to do it, and that's why they're very expensive, because it's very tedious work. It requires high precision, it requires experience, artistic ability, and all those things to put together. The worst of them is the time, and the fact that you just can't do this very quickly. It requires a lot of commitment, and you have to have a lot of trust in yourself. Why do I do it myself? Well, it turns out that I actually do have a lot of artistic training, and basically, when I was much younger and I went to a lot of different art schools, you get a lot of confidence going between mediums, working on different media. So across all of those, although I'm not great, I'm good enough where I can have confidence. Where when I started airbrushing, first of all, I did a couple practice things and a lot of different exercises before I went in depth and started painting the helmet. But it was an easy transition for me. But if it's, if you have a hard time, drawing something just freehand and making it look, if you have a hard time playing Pictionary, you're probably not going to be able to play, paint your own helmet. And like I said, it's very time consuming. And if you factor in the cost of the supplies and you factor in the time and what your time is worth, it definitely doesn't become worth it. I know in this case, just painting supplies alone for this helmet, no matter what way you do it, it's going to be between $400, maybe even $600 worth of just supplies alone. That is just the sunk cost of the supplies, depending on what you buy and what you need, because obviously if you're airbrushing, you need an air compressor, you need an airbrush. If you already have those, then okay, but just the paints and then the tapes and all that, that's material cost. The way that the professionals do it is, of course, they amortize the cost of those things, so then you're not buying a new airbrush every time. But if you're going to be doing this at home, you better already have an airbrush, otherwise it's going to be an expensive thing to get just off the bat. There is another solution to it, which is still very expensive, and then there's the time factor. So, coupled all those things together, you're looking at between $800 and $1,000 to paint the helmet, which is exactly what it costs to have a professional do it. So you're just better off having a pro do it. The other reason why I do like to paint it is because kind of, well, I mean, it's just putting a touch of myself. Besides just the design, I like to put a little bit of myself into it, and I'm proud of the work that I do. So it's worth the investment, even though I lose considerable amount of money. I think it's a cool thing. Former F1 and WEC driver Alexander Wirtz, he's pretty famous for also having painted his own helmets throughout his driving career. So I don't know, I kind of look up to that, and I kind of like it. So that's why I go ahead and paint my own helmet, and that's why we're going to be doing this one. So let's go and talk about the steps. I mean, first of all, when you're going to design a helmet, you want to get inspired. So the first step, and this is something I've been doing for several months now, because I kind of think of it similar to getting a tattoo. I don't have any tattoos on my body, but you know, it's permanent, obviously. So you know, some people stress for a very long time as to what they're going to get. Some people are impulsive, but I've been actually stressing and thinking about the design of this helmet for many months. And I've laid out some things. So basically now I've laid out a guide in my head and on paper a little bit as to what I want to design and what I wanted to look for. When I get down to masking, I might, you know, I'm liable to make a last minute change based on how I'm feeling or what I'm looking at the moment and stuff. But inspiration is important. So what I did was I've been looking around at a lot of photos online, basically on Facebook and Instagram of my favorite artists. So I'll rank them. I mean, it's going to be Brett King design. It's going to be Ant-Man, Helmart, Sensport, Smart, and maybe a couple others. But those are like the main guys I've been following. I've been watching. I've looked through all their photos and everything, and it's just I like their work the most. The design I'm going to be going with here is definitely going to be more of a Brett King style, and the way that you can tell Brett King style helmet is that he stopped using outlines for a lot of his helmet designs, which is still very in, and most designers are still using outlines. So I think it's kind of like an avant-garde type thing. So like in this helmet, I used the gold outlines for the design, but that's kind of, I don't know, to me it kind of feels a little bit dated. So I think it's cooler and cleaner now just to go ahead and design it. No outlines, just blocks. You know, it's going to be very sharp, very jagged. I think that looks fast to me. And I will still be using the black, green, white, and gray color scheme. No gold this time. I didn't like the gold so much, so we'll omit that. So inspiration is number one, and I've been working on that for many months. Part two was the supplies. So I was looking at getting the airbrush and the compressor, which I didn't have. I don't have here in San Diego. And then I came across this option from Coast Airbrush, where they can actually house and basically make for you an aerosol can from the House of Color airbrush paints. So that was a cool option. I did some more research. They have some cool videos that you can watch at Coast Airbrush. And finally, I got sold. The color options, not exactly what you have when you're airbrushing. So that is a limitation of this option, which is if you're going to go the aerosol can route, you can't mix. So if you're airbrushing it yourself, you can mix the colors and maybe get the type of green that you want, the type of gray that you want, the type of lighting effect that you want. But here you're going to be a little bit more limited. They do mix it for you there, but they just can't mix everything under the sun. So you're going to have to make sure that the colors that you want are some of the colors that are available. Luckily, I was able to settle on colors that are available. I went to their website and I researched it extensively. Made a few phone calls and decided that this was going to be the route to go. Now the airbrush paints in the aerosol can saved me from buying the airbrush and the air compressor. But the problem is, of course, that you can only use them once and then that's it. And they're expensive. So pros and cons, I weighed them out. I like the airbrush option. $25 a can versus $8 or $7 a bottle or so for the airbrush paint color. I thought it was worth it. For a one-time helmet design, it does actually save the money of the airbrush and the air compressor. So I think it's a win. And then I made a trip over to to Coast Airbrush in Anaheim to go and look for the paints. So let's go ahead and watch that. Hi, everyone. Okay, so today we are at Coast Airbrushing in Anaheim, and Hannah and I just finished our 90-minute drive to get here. But I think it's going to be worth it because we're going to get some cool stuff to paint the helmet with, okay? So let's go take a look inside. Use your finger, give me an autograph on it. Cool. So I just got out of the store, and that experience went really well. It's actually pretty cool because they actually mix the paints into cans right there with you, and it turned out that I could actually choose. Maybe like they can't mix anything under the sun, but you have a lot more options than what I thought I had by just looking online. So let's see, I ended up going with the Planet Green, and then we had a little bit of a more custom like option that we mixed for a second type of green, and then we got the silver, the white, and the black, so all set. And then got a clear coat and an inter coat clear as well, or like a protecting layer, and then all the tapes that I need for the project. And Hannah was with me the entire time. And pretty cool. I mean, the total of it obviously is not cheap. If they are and this is the only place that you can get these aerosols as well from House of Colors. They mix them here, and apparently they are, they have a close relationship with House of Color, and they let them do it. So pretty unique. Honestly, I was thinking about, before I was planning to do it with the airbrush and buy the compressor and the whole kit again to paint my helmet, but then I came across this option and saw the videos that they provide online, and I'm like, well, why not? So at the end of the day, I spent $200 today on the paints and the tapes and the clear coat and everything, and it's going to come out with a better quality. And then at the end of the day, I'm not going to end up with a compressor or like the gun laying around. And honestly, I don't know, I save a couple $100 because I don't have those things, and I was going to have to buy them. The paint's always going to be kind of expensive anyway. Sure, the aerosol versions are a little bit more expensive than the airbrush versions of the paint, but I think it's definitely well worth it. At the end of the day, I'm saving money, so that's a good thing. So now we're off to go have lunch.